Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you all so much for joining the Power of 8 at 8:10 Eastern Time. A little bit late, but we do appreciate everybody hopping in here with us. And I do have Eileen from
Hi,
One
guys.
Channel.
Yeah, I have a really strong signal tonight, so I'm going to pull the show up on my phone, and then if I put my glasses on, I'll be able to see comments tonight. There we go.
Is
Hi,
it coming up
guys.
okay?
Yeah, I can see it, but in my phone, it's really small.
Yeah, I need to, I don't know what happened to my
But
glasses.
if I put my glasses on, I think you just get a reflection of my screen in my eyes, right?
That's exactly
Who
why
cares?
I don't wear glasses
Yeah.
typically, because I can do without them, and I've got 3 screens here. One of them I'm using a
3.
TV for the screen. So
Ooh,
this
that
whole
would be
side,
great.
yeah,
Because then I
except
could
for
see
it's
their
like a solid.
comments on a TV,
Yeah.
and then I could really read them.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have a projector that I got at the flea market that points at the screen behind me, but being that it's summertime, it's just too hot. Those things are just so hot, you know. But I thought that would reduce the strain to have a background that is like completely independent, and it's not really blue screened or green screened.
Yeah, well, you could blue or green screen your background, and you could have something really wild behind you, like a different solar system or something.
Yeah, it's just too taxing on the system is the only reason I don't do it. And my projector doesn't fill up the whole background behind me, or I would probably use it a little bit more, you know, and I have to have so many lights on it. Yeah.
So everybody look at Shane, and then do you guys remember, now that'll make you feel uncomfortable, right? Everybody look at Shane at once. Do you remember those 3D images that you could see in a picture? If you stared through the picture, the 3D image would pop out. So just stare through Shane, like look past him through the computer to the far wall, and then see if you can see any colors around his head and shoulders, because I can see a really strong color of pink going into purple on your right side. So that would be our left side. So anybody else pick that up? Because it's so much easier to actually see the electromagnetic energy of a human being against a white background or a yellow background. Anybody else reading auras, seeing colors?
I think they're just now getting your message, so it'll take a second. It's like,
oh yeah, because I'm in the time warp. I'm 15 seconds behind everybody.
Yeah, it does get kind of trippy when you
yeah, Biker Babe said pink. I see pink too. And then on your left side, which is our right side, I see more yellow, more gold, but the other side's all pink. Biker Babe sees pink.
I got different color lights here, so I'm not sure. I've got a red light that's like sort of right there. I got a blue light that's there. I've got just the regular incandescent light up there that's shining behind me. And I usually have a yellow light over here that I don't have on right now, plus whatever light's coming from my screens on me. So normally I have this other yellow light on here.
Cool. And Debbie, Hazelton's in the room. I was wondering if you can feel auras and feel colors. Debbie, if you like put your hands over people, can you kind of sense the hotter colors and the cooler colors and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Looks like we're just full of moderators tonight.
Yeah, that's cool.
Look at all the wrenches ready to pop.
Overprotected, Sherry sees blue. And it's interesting that you have a red and a blue light, because we might be picking up your colors for sure. The colors of the light bulbs would affect the colors around you. So
yeah, the lights are actually white, but it's one of those old lights that sprout out into all these different little lampshades, plastic lampshades, and the shades around them are actually different colors.
That's kind of cool.
And I don't shine them directly at me. I sort of, that gets just be too bright in my eyes or whatever. So they kind of hit these white panels on the side and reflect the white light towards me. But the shades do have color to them. So
Marie sees green as well and orange around the shoulders. I love looking for colors on people. I try not to do it to strangers because I think you're really weird when you're just kind of like staring through them. You know, it's not
Yeah.
fair, is it? It's like, you know, just do people you know.
Yeah, you got to
Ronnie
be in the
said
right
that
crowd.
you're looking a little bit tired, and I got to be honest with you, I'm absolutely whacked out today. Are you feeling kind of like,
I've been working on this video a lot, and I haven't been sleeping near as much as usual, just because I'm trying to get it done in a decent time. But I feel
see,
fine. But yeah, I might look a little bit tired. But
Ronnie
I
could
was
see it
actually
in your eyes.
I was actually more tired last week. But that was I had plenty of sleep last week. It was more the energies had me feeling like really wiped out. This is like normal tired I'm feeling right now, not that
Oh
heavy,
my God, normal
energetic.
tired?
Yeah, that's actually pretty nice to just, I could drink a cup of coffee right now and I'd be totally cool.
So I was like tired my whole life, and now I'm semi-retired. So I get to kind of sleep in. Like for the first time in my life, it's my schedule. I'm like, really? I can get up at 10, and then if you sleep till 11, you feel so guilty. You're like, oh my God, I'm just like a teenager, you know?
Yeah, typically if I sleep till 11, it's because I was up till like 3 or 4. So
Yeah, well, me too. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. April said, "What is the yellow color?" I'm from the old school of color therapy, and one was like from the 60s and 70s, and yellow is coming from the solar plexus, so it's a really bright, happy energy, like the sun used to be yellow, and you absorb the sun energy through your solar plexus, which is why they call it solar plexus. And that's real life sustaining, happy, very positive color. I often paint rooms yellow because I lived in England for over 20 years and the sun just didn't come out enough for me. So I always had to paint my bedrooms a slight shade of yellow just to bring that, lift my mood and my spirit.
Yeah, my wife was showing me a show the other day where they were showing the morning sun coming in, and it was so ridiculously yellow. But I was like, that's just how it used to be. I mean, it looks funny now because we're not used to that, but it used to look super yellow in the morning.
Yeah, it did. And today I stood in the sun for like 10 minutes, and it was afternoon sun in Florida, so about 4. Boy, it was intense. But I'm not afraid of it. I know we've been told to lather up with sun creams, and I know we have to protect our skin and our eyes, but it sure does feel good just to stand in the sun for like 10 minutes. It just, even when it's intense and hot, it really does warm your body. It really feels good to me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I've noticed that too. If you're sitting in front of the air conditioner and you start to kind of get cold, it's just depending on where you are in the house, it could be like you're just kind of in a cold spot in the summer, or maybe you're just sitting at the computer and you start getting cold, but the whole house isn't really cold. It's just your location, and then you go out and it's actually hot outside, but the sun actually feels good warming you up. So I do get to enjoy that from time to time.
Well, it's interesting because this is the perfect segue. I did not plan this. Look, I have no scripts, no notes on my hands for a video that we're going to watch tonight. It's from NASA, so we're hoping that Shane won't get a copyright strike. I'm sure that he won't. Everybody plays NASA clips all over YouTube. And
Oh
he said
no,
if
they love us
music in the background, then we couldn't play it because it's the music that gets you the strike, right?
Yeah, or in movies, the actual, they do
Dialogue?
yeah, because it's a movie, so they actually, do them. Plus, movies usually have some sort of music in the background all the time, anyway. But
All the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
That belongs to somebody. So I get a lot of really cool videos from people, especially from Metal Rabbit, Jamie, Dead GPK, and Overprotected. It's like I have this small group of people who send me the most amazing videos. And Dead sent me this one on portals to the sun. Now, as strange as it sounds, and Jamie was sending me some really cool ones on 2 moons, and I think maybe Sherry sent me 2 moons. Everybody's talking about the Earth's 2 moons now, but this is about the sun. And according to NASA scientists, we have portals opening up electromagnetically directly between the surface of the Earth and the surface of the sun.
Magnetic portals around
now,
Earth.
that's kind of interesting, and they come and they go.
Science at
They
NASA.
happen through electromagnetic interplay between the Earth's magnetic shield, which is all scattered right now, and the sun's electromagnetic energy. So, do you want to just play it now?
Yeah, I will turn the sound up. Let me back it up a little bit.
Because I'll
magnetic
tell you how
portals
this
around Earth.
impacts us on the power of
Presented
8
by Science at
after
NASA.
you see these real connections to
A favorite theme of science fiction is the portal,
electromagnetism
an
between
extraordinary
us and
opening
the
in
sun.
space or time that connects travelers
And they could
to
be happening
distant
right where you
realms.
are. They could be happening in
A
your
good
house.
portal is a shortcut.
They could be happening
a
down the
guide,
road. They open
a
and
door
close.
into the unknown.
Somewhere
If
I
only
saw
they
every
actually
8
existed.
minutes.
It turns out that they do, sort of. And a NASA-funded
So while
researcher
Shane's
at the
backing that
University of
up,
Iowa has figured out how to find
I
them.
read a long time
We
ago,
call them
when you study
X-points,
psychic
or
phenomenon, that psychic abilities increase with increases in electromagnetic activity from the sun. So when you get a good geomagnetic storm, like Metal Rabbit sent me last week, that's a really good time to meditate with intentions, because it amplifies them, which is often why people download the free sidereal clock to their phone. And at 1:30 p.m., sidereal clock, not anything to do with the earth clock, you do your meditations for intentions, because that's when you receive the most electromagnetic energy from the center of the galaxy, which is called the galactic sun. Now, a lot of people think it's a black hole, but it's still putting out a tremendous amount of energy, and who knows what time during the day 1:30 p.m. or afternoon is going to hit on the sidereal clock. But that's the really best time to be practicing your psychic work and giving out your intentions.
A favorite theme of science fiction is the portal.
All right, I'm going to play
An
it.
extraordinary opening in space or time
So how do
that
I see
connects
it? Do
travelers
I hit
to
anything?
distant realms.
I was sharing it, but I
A
think
good
I thought
portal
you were
is a
watching on the
shortcut,
channel because
a guide,
you were telling me
door
the
into the
delayed
unknown.
version of it. So
If only they
it
actually
was already
Okay.
actually rolling when you said
It turns out that they
talked
do,
about backing it
sort
up.
of.
So I rewound
And a
it.
Oh, okay.
NASA-funded researcher at the University of Iowa
Whenever you
has
want to
figured
play
out
it,
how to
I'll
find
watch
them.
it on the
We call
live
them
channel.
X-points,
Okay, it's
or
playing right
electron
now.
diffusion regions,
Okay.
explains plasma physicist Jack Scudder of the University of Iowa. They're places where the magnetic field of Earth connects to the magnetic field of the sun, creating an uninterrupted path leading from our own planet to the sun's atmosphere 93 million miles away. Observations by NASA's Themis spacecraft and Europe's cluster probes suggest that these magnetic portals open and close dozens of times each day. They're typically located a few tens of thousands of kilometers from Earth, where the geomagnetic field meets the onrushing solar wind. Most portals are small and short-lived. Others are yawning, vast, and sustained. Energetic particles can flow through the openings, heating Earth's upper atmosphere, sparking geomagnetic storms, and igniting bright polar auroras. NASA is planning a mission called MMS, short for Magnetospheric Multiscale Mission, due to launch in 2014 to study the phenomenon. Bristling with energetic particle detectors and magnetic sensors, the 4 spacecraft of MMS will spread out in Earth's magnetosphere and surround the portals to observe how they work. Just one problem: finding them. Magnetic portals are invisible, unstable, and elusive. They open and close without warning, and there are no signposts to guide us in, notes Scudder. Actually, there are signposts, and Scudder has found them. Portals form via the process of magnetic reconnection. Mingling lines of magnetic force from the Sun and Earth crisscross and join to create the openings. X-points are where the crisscross takes place. The sudden joining of magnetic fields can propel jets of charged particles from the X-point, creating an electron diffusion region. To learn how to pinpoint these events, Scudder looked at data from a space probe that orbited Earth more than 10 years ago. In the late 1990s, NASA's polar spacecraft spent years in Earth's magnetosphere, explains Scudder, and it encountered many X-points during its mission. Because Polar carried sensors similar to those of MMS, Scudder decided to see how an X-point looked to Polar. Using polar data, we have found 5 simple combinations of magnetic field and energetic particle measurements that tell us when we've come across an X-point or an electron diffusion region. A single spacecraft, properly instrumented, can make these measurements. This means that a single member of the MMS constellation using the diagnostics can find a portal and alert other members of the constellation. Mission planners long thought that MMS might have to spend a year or so learning to find portals before it could study them. Scudder's work shortcuts the process, allowing MMS to get to work without delay. It's a shortcut worthy of the best portals of fiction, only this time the portals are real. And with the new signposts, we know how to find them. For a portal to more NASA science news, visit science.nasa.gov.
And we are back. Let me turn my camera back on. It was struggling a little bit.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I was watching it. Sorry, I was talking over the beginning of it because of that delay, and I can't see it on my screen.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
So,
yeah, I couldn't hear it either, so I hope they could hear us while it was playing. I tried to.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So think about it. You know, we have this scattered magnetic shield now that's been getting more and more scattered for 40 years. For whatever reason, some say Nibiru, some say, you know, something else out there like Nemesis, another sun pulling on it, you know, who knows? Probably the same thing that's making all the planets get brighter and brighter and hotter. But there are times you can't see these portals when the Earth surface is immediately tied energetically to the surface of the sun. Now, I've always thought, and then I've read recently, that the sun's energy is cool and that it heats up when it hits our stratosphere and our atmosphere. You know, like when a rock comes through, it's like cold out in space. But when it goes through the atmosphere, it turns into a little fireball. Or right now, we're getting some pretty big fireballs as well. My daughter actually saw one in Florida, you know, that was massive. And space weather today says that there's 28 fireballs it reported on Earth today in 24 hours. So just like a little pebble out in space will get really hot inside our atmosphere, that's what happens to sun rays. When the sun rays, the electromagnetic and other energies that we don't even know about because we can't measure them. We can't measure them because we don't know about them. When they get into the atmosphere, they heat up and we go, oh, the sun is really hot. But perhaps the surface of the sun's, you know, surface is cool until the energy gets in here. And then we go, oh my God, I'm so tired this week. I'm so tired. We're going through these event and ascension changes. That could have a lot to do with these sun portals opening and closing all over the place. And we can't even see them.
Totally. Yeah, I saw a video a while back where the guy was explaining exactly what you're talking about. He was saying that it's only the atmosphere of Earth that even makes the sun visible, or the surface of the moon and the surface of the Earth and the atmosphere. And he said once you actually get into space, you don't even see the sun or the stars. You have to have Earth's atmosphere. And
isn't that crazy? Like a spyglass. We're living in a spyglass or a camera.
Yeah, that's really interesting because you think cold fusion, and then he explained the sunspots were actually holes in the sun, and he said that it was really a portal and that it was hollow, and that, you know, and it makes sense because you see the sunspots and you think, how is the surface would be cold? I mean, it would still be hot enough to glow. How is it a black spot on the sun?
But it's not hot. And then now those sunspots are huge. Have you seen them lately? They're enormous on the northern part on one side of the sun. And then when you go into low sunspot activity, you get high electromagnetism, which Metal Rabbit sent me. We had a really strong electromagnetic storm that hit our state, that hit Florida, you know, because sometimes it'll just hit part of the United States, you know, or part
Alexis
of Europe.
was talking about that when she was on Thursday, that the meters were all pegged. Yeah.
I saw that show, and she really follows it so well. So if you can predict a high electromagnetic storm or an opening of a sun portal, if you did your meditation for intention and prayer at those times, they would be magnified, 1,000-fold or 10,000-fold. They really do help give oomph to our mental abilities, which are also electrical. I mean, think about it. A thought is electrical, an electrical firing of the synapse. So if it gets hit by a jolt of electromagnetic energy while you're thinking it, it's just going to give it that much more power.
Yeah, and you remember that guy that you sent me a video about not long ago. He was saying how our thoughts are electronic and our emotions are magnetic, or vice versa. I can't remember.
No, that's right. That's right.
Okay, I got it right. Okay. So that really, you're putting out this electrical signal, and then your emotions are creating this magnetism.
Magnetizing the thought. That's and amazing. Then for manifestation, if you then do something physical, that's kinetic energy. It's completely separate from electric energy. You think it, then you feel it, like you give thanks for it and feel what it would feel like if you achieved it. Now you put your magnetism behind your electrical thought, and then go out and do anything, even symbolic. A symbolic action will put the kinetic energy of matter behind it. So now you've empowered your wish or desire with 3 different energies: electric, magnetic, and kinetic.
Totally. Yeah.
So cool. So cool.
And that also, I wish I could remember her name, but she does the space weather news, and she talks about how, whenever there's these waves coming from the sun, how like ham radio operators are able to use their radios better. They call it propagation or something like that. But
okay, I didn't know.
We don't have the solar wind. They're not able to use the radio, so it's like it's riding on these waves that's coming from the sun. That's what enables us to use radio waves, and that's totally not how I thought things worked.
That's not what we're taught, are we? There's a lot we're not taught that we have to figure out on our own, and a lot of people believe in a solar logos, which some interpret as a solar god or a solar being. But hey, we're talking solar energy and creation energy and angelic energy and human energy. And, energy is energy, no matter what you clothe it in, whether it has a material body or it doesn't have a material body, energy is energy. And I think on our own, we're figuring this out, because the more we know about this, the more independently powerful we become. So it makes perfect sense that they would not be teaching us this stuff in school, you know?
In that same video that was talking about the sun information we were just talking about, it was actually saying how the sun wasn't this nuclear reactor burning from within. It was actually burning whatever's in space as we, because we're really moving together as a solar system through space. And you know how we're going through this.
That makes sense.
We're going through this more photonic area of space.
Yeah, a high energy part of the galaxy.
And that would explain why the
solar system's going through.
That would explain why the sun's burning a different color as well. If it's really just burning what it's flying through, then it would explain why it's not yellow as it was before, because it's not coming from within. It's just sort of burning what's in space as we fly through space at so many 1,000 million miles an hour or whatever it is.
And then, of course, when we learn from NASA, I can't believe how much we're actually learning from them, that they're letting some of this stuff out, that something is tilting the solar system and something is tilting the galaxy. So, I mean, that photonic cloud, it could be the galaxy is moving through a photonic cloud of high energy. Because imagine, like, say you got your little fake spaceship and you're pushing it through air. It goes really, really fast. There's nothing pushing against it. But then do it in the bathtub through water. It doesn't go so fast.
Right.
Something's pushing against it. Well, imagine not only the whole solar system, but the whole galaxy being in a high dense energy plasma field, right? And imagine what kind of pull that would have on everything. So yes, it would scatter the Earth's shield. It would heat up the Earth and all the planets, and it would tilt the solar system. And Mr. MB333 did a video on tilting the moon. The moon's tilted, the planets tilted, the solar system's tilted, and now they're saying perhaps the whole galaxy is being sucked down or pulled down by something big,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. You know, it's nothing to be afraid of, right? It's probably cyclical. We're probably like having the Mandela effect and increased spiritual awareness and increased psychic abilities because of whatever's tugging on the world right now, on our universe.
Yeah, totally. And I think when you really consider how short of a time we've been on here, and you know, our recorded history anyway, of how long we've been documenting things and stuff like that, we haven't been through any major cycles, a full cycle to be able to say, well, happens here and this happens here, because you're talking 25,000 years, and we've really only been keeping up for a few hundred years.
And that's the short cycle.
Yeah.
The 25,000 years is one galactic day.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, but the long cycle is like 240 million years for the solar system to go once around the galaxy. That's the long cycle.
Yeah.
So it would be great if material beings could live long enough to experience the whole thing and understand it. But considering how little we're told, because we're harder to like control the more we know, we figured out a heck of a lot of this stuff. We really have. When you look at what's available on YouTube, you know, you have to sift through the rubbish that isn't true and that's fear mongering, you know, but you can get a complete education now all by yourself.
Yeah, and I love that. Here's the thing, that a lot of times we'll come across these ancient writings where we just discover something and then we realize that, how did they know this already back then? If they didn't have telescopes yet and they didn't have this and that, and we don't realize they actually knew something until we figure it out. And then we look at it and we're like, oh, they already knew this. It's like we're having
so how many advanced civilizations have existed on this planet before us?
Totally.
And we had to start over. We had to learn all over again.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake to think this is the highest we've ever achieved. And because if you think about the things that's lasted that we see, like the pyramids and stuff like that. I watched the show on, I think the Learning Channel or Discovery Channel a long time ago, and it was like 50 years after people, I think was the name of it, or something like that. And they were showing how all our skyscrapers would rust and fall and be gone without any kind of human maintenance to it. And, you know, the bridges would all be gone. And I was like, oh my gosh, there would be no proof of us being around. They showed like all of New York would look like Central Park, you know, like it just spread and it's just
I've seen those. Yeah.
Even the streets would be covered with dirt and stuff, and you just wouldn't even
and trees. It'd go back to jungle, and whatever it was, it would go back to desert.
That's crazy to imagine, you know, because we use steel for everything, but it rusts. So, you know.
Yeah, so it's not going to last forever. It'll oxidize. But I guess stones will last longer, you know, proof the pyramids and Göbekli Tempe, or however you say that really old place in Turkey. They're still uncovering it. The one thing that's really, really interesting is that we always talk about this in this community, and that's how fear is used to control and oppress and suppress. And as long as you realize that no matter what they do, it doesn't affect you, because your power is coming from inside of you. It's from the inside coming out. So, you know, no matter what they do, without going into any details, as long as you're strong in your core, where your love resides, and you know who you are and who you love, and that pretty much gives you the strength where you're pretty, you know, it's hard to fear demons, Satan, devils, aliens. What are they? Archons? Mm-hmm. Anunnaki, you know, all of these things are always designed to suppress somebody's power, to remove their personal power. Because as soon as you go into a fear mode, boy, that inner strength just vanishes. You know, you start to feel sick to your stomach, and then you get, you know, dizzy, lightheaded, not in a meditative way. You know, so fear is the one thing, I think, if we could conquer that in this century, so that we are truly standing in our personal individual power, we could actually transform the planet then. Because people who stand in their power want to share. They want to feed the world. They want to protect the earth and not pollute it. And, you know, they want peace. They don't want war. So that's the beautiful thing about where we're going now. And that might be the event that we're all waiting for. Literally, Lori Lothian did a video on it recently, and a lot of other people are too. You know, the event might be you. You are the event for Earth. You came here, and the fact that you're changing your whole paradigm of how you think, how you feel, how you interact could be changing Earth. It could be the event.
Totally. Yeah, I think when you really think of where we're at, and that the fact that we're like infinite beings, the things they use to fear us, I mean, make us fearful, is typically like death, or, you know, just death seems to be the primary thing. But once you realize we're infinite beings, all that dissolves away, you know, because they can't really kill you. They can, you know, maybe ruin your life on this plane, but on the whole, they can't do anything to stop you, whoever they are. I'm talking, you know, whoever they
institutionalized religions and governments and stuff like that.
Or archons or demons or any of the other things they try to push to sort of put us in fear, you know, that.
Yeah, because fearful people are really easy to control.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, you know, just realizing, I guess that's why so many religions in the West would not support reincarnation. A lot of Eastern religions did. But in the West, they're like, heck no, you know, this is it. This is your one lifetime. You do what we tell you or you go to hell. So once you realize that you have an infinite amount of life in front of you and behind you, you're right. It's like, I don't know, that is a very freeing. It's interesting because people don't get greedier because of it. They actually get more loving and compassionate to others because of it.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Yeah. So I just thought that was fascinating. Thanks, Dad, GPKS. I don't have the chat anymore because it was interfering with my signal again. But I just thought that was fascinating that NASA says that these little portals to the sun electromagnetically open up and close constantly. Maybe because of the scattered shield. I don't know. Maybe it's always done that.
Right. Maybe it's just a cycle. That's what Mr. MBB always points out is, you know, the last time this happened, but there was a few different things happening that was sort of stacking up. You know, the fact that like all the planets were on the one half of the sun right now, that's added to the other, because that doesn't happen every time that we're in a solar minimum. You know, so, and if all of these have some sort of effect on the Earth, you know, because everything's energy, and of course things can get excited, you know, gravity can pull more. The sun, the rays from the sun getting in can excite the inner part of the Earth, that, you know, more volcanoes, more tectonic plate movement. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So
more of a pole shift, a little more of the pole moving to its wherever it's going to stop, you know, its new position. It's on its way to a new position.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is really an exciting time. And I think we're really lucky to be here experiencing this. And perhaps we chose it. Perhaps we're like, I'm going down now. This is what I want to experience, you know?
Yeah. And it's funny that you said that, because this time last year, I couldn't wait for some kind of event to happen to get me the heck out of here. But now I'm just learning to, you know, because when you look back on life, it's like that typically, you know, like when I was in the band, I was like just wanting to make it big, and I wasn't enjoying the fact that I was out playing and people were enjoying our music, and because I always wanted more and more, and because I wasn't achieving what I wanted, I wasn't enjoying the moment, you know. So I'm really trying to, I don't want to get into the future and look back and say, why didn't I enjoy those times better than I did? Because that was the greatest transformation of my life. I should have really been enjoying it. So I made up my mind to enjoy it while it's here, because I know
every moment. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know if it was a joke or a story, but I remember hearing or reading, probably a very shorter version on Facebook or something like that, of how we always look to the future. Like, when I go to college, when I get my degree, I'll be happy because I have all my schooling behind me. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. When I get a job, a good job, I'll be happy. And then it's like, I don't really like this job. When I get a good job, a really well-paying job, I'll be happy. And then it's like,
sorry, are you pondering, or did you freeze on me? I think she's really in deep thought.
All that time you spent 90 years waiting to be happy.
And I think that's why you see, you know, a lot of stars and stuff self-terminate, because they achieved what they always set out for. You know, whether it was their first Grammy or whatever the success is, whatever the money is, whatever goal it is, they reached it and they discovered it wasn't, the happiness wasn't really tied to that. You know?
Yeah, that happiness isn't tied to anything. It's internal. I learned this really early on because I started reading books about aliens when I was 15 and metaphysics, you know, really when I was 15, it really kicked off. So early on, I learned that you bring your happiness into every relationship and into every situation. Happiness is not sitting out there somewhere waiting for you. It's what you bring to it. And you can either bring happiness or sadness, frustration, or complete indifference to every relationship and every situation that you find yourself in. So I am a kind of exceptionally happy person. Sometimes that pisses people off.
Yeah, I guess it's in the you know, and I think of like my wife's cousins. Their mom died, and they were a real religious Christian family. This was a while back, you know, and like a lot of the kids were in their teens or whatever. And she went to the funeral, and she was talking about how they were so bubbly and happy, and they were like, she was like, how could they be so happy, you know? But they were hanging on in their worldview. Their mother had went to heaven. You know, she was in a better place. And it was a sudden thing too. It wasn't like she had cancer and she was suffering and then, you know, she wasn't suffering anymore. That's sort of where my joy came in when my father passed away, is that I would like sort of clung to the fact that at least, you know, he wanted to go. He wasn't suffering. He's not suffering anymore. And, but, you know, for her to get in a car wreck and then all of a sudden, and I was thinking at the time, like, well, maybe they're in shock or whatever. She goes, no, they were just happy and as bubbly as ever. And, you know, and I think that, and you see it with homeless people. Sometimes you'll see homeless people and they're just so bubbling over with joy. So it just goes to show you, it has, you know, you really can be happy no matter where you're at. And when we start tying it to external things, that's when we're going to get let down and disappointed, because you always have the power to be happy no matter what's going on. You know,
that's just so true. People used to accuse me of looking at life through rose-colored glasses, and I was like, is that a bad thing? Is it bad to look around and just look for and see the beauty and the joy around you? It might not be very practical, and sometimes you get disappointed. But hey, if you're moping around the place, you're going to get disappointed too, probably more, by attracting more, because that which you focus on grows. Like, it's okay to see the bad so we can fix it, but we don't focus on it, because the more we focus on negativity, the more we grow it with our own energy. It's like this little happy dance that we're doing here, where we're trying to be happy and loving and kind, but also take care of the world and the community and not just turn our backs on everything. You know, that's a really, really difficult but worthwhile place to be, I think, as a human being, you know, to maintain your sense of joy, but to also take care of your community.
Yeah. And, you know, the funny thing is, if you've got sort of these polar opposites, like you're a real happy person and you're real optimistic, but you're like stuck with this person that's just the opposite. They're real pessimistic. They, like, you know, that old saying, misery loves company. They can't stand for you to be happy. It's like, what are you so dang happy about? You know, and they just try to pull you down, you know, and then in turn you try to pull them up, and it's the struggle. It's like a tug of war, like trying to pull vibes up, we're trying to pull vibes down. And it's really strange the way that works.
And opposites do attract. So there's a lot of couples out there, I'm sure, who are, you know, one's a moaning Myrtle or a moaning Marty, and one's just like happy chappy, you know, life is great, life is grand, you know. If you really want to piss somebody off, just start singing and whistling as you're walking around the house, and you're moaning Marty or moaning Myrtle's in the other room. They'll be like, grrr, they're whistling.
Totally. What are they so dang happy about? Yeah. It's like, but
I tend to attract friends who also suffer with depression. I do. And I know that it's this magnet thing, because I'm walking around going, oh my God, life is so great, you know, and they're like, I want some of that, you know? Right. So got time for a coffee? I'm like, yeah, I got time for a coffee.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, sometimes I just want to just feel those high vibes coming off of you for a while, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and it's good. It's good because it's all give and take, and we're all one. You know, there's this big human family, and I have to not be critical. That's my big lesson in life, is not to criticize, because if people are feeling, you know, really negative, I'll be like, grr. It's like, oh, don't criticize them. That let them feel their feelings. Don't judge them. You know what I mean? That's a big lesson for me.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, when I play video games with my son, he gets upset, and I'm like, son, I don't want to come play, and you're going to just get mad the whole time. I want, this is like we're spending time together. I want you to be happy, and he just gets frustrated that he loses, you know, or whatever it is. I'm like, one day you're going to look back on this, and you're going to think of how much fun you had playing games with your dad. You're not going to care about winning and losing at that point.
Whether you won or lost.
Yeah.
But right now, those games are changing his electrical synapses. And when he wins, it gives him a shot of dopamine. And when he loses, it does the opposite. So he's actually just like, I guess it's like a smoker who hasn't had a cigarette for 24 hours. He's like, you know.
Totally. But, you know, we have those discussions because life can be like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. No matter what you're doing. And of course, video games can be addictive, just like playing the slot machine, and you win a little bit and you get excited. And it's that same sort of thing that's happening in the brain.
They said Facebook was designed. Did you see those videos where the designer of Facebook turned around and said how bad Facebook was? And he said, we've actually done social engineering and decided how many likes, how many thumbs up, how many smiley faces do people need to get the adrenaline rush, to get the dopamine fix, to get them addicted. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah, that's really strange. And you know, I don't know what it is, but like when Facebook first came out, and I would get on there, and you know, I would lose 2 hours. I'm like, oh, I got to stay away from this. I don't know where those 2 hours just went, because you'd see something, you click on it, and before you knew it, you know, you wasted time. Because I work
me and
home.
YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube's an addiction for me. You know, if I start my day on YouTube, it'll gobble up. I'm not kidding. Like 4 hours will disappear. And I'll be like, dang, where did those 4 hours go? I was in an alternate universe, you know?
Right. And then you think back, you're like, what was I even watching? What the heck happened? You know?
Yeah, you might not even liked what you were watching, but it was addictive. And then one leads to another and another and another. Speaking of addictive watching, I'm very much into Robert Seffer right now. You know him. I know you know him. Spirit Walker watches him. Wow, he is just like constantly uncovering our hidden history. If you guys like history and you want to know what really the governments and the churches and the, you know, where people come from, and, you know, all that hidden stuff, just watch Robert Seffer.
Atlantean Gardens? Is that his channel?
That's one of them. That he's got 2 channels. He's got Robert Seffer channel and he's got Atlantean Gardens. And both of them play the same videos.
Oh, okay.
So
I know the name. I was trying to remember what he looks like so I know who he was right offhand.
They're so addictive. They're like 10 minutes long, and you know, suddenly 3 hours is gone, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to go do something, you know, like grocery shop or take a shower or pay some bills or, you know, live. I got to get off these videos.
Yeah, that's why I used to have like Yahoo as my like main page when I open my browser up, and when you first set it up, it's like, you know, what are some of your interests? So I put like science and this and that. And then as soon as you open up Yahoo, you are just stuck in stuff that you're interested in. So when Google came out and it was this plain white screen, I loved it because I didn't lose like 2 hours of reading articles and the latest science headlines. I wasn't quite as informed at stuff that was coming out, but, you know, sometimes it was just too addictive not to read something. If you get on there to do a quick search or check your email, and then there's this article about something that you're really interested in, there's no way you're not going to read it. You know what I mean? And it's just like Facebook.
And then the next one pops up right below it. So I thought I was being really clever because I was like, I want to protect my privacy, you know, something to do with my age, right? We're all like that. So when all these things came up online, I made up a birth date, and it's only one birth date so I can remember what it is, which conveniently made me 10 years younger. And I made up my name, you know, for Facebook and all these other places and things like that, and YouTube and Google. And when it said sex, I put male. I'm like, how dare you want to know my sex? I don't want you sending me. So I really was getting like the crappiest ads, and I was getting like the crappiest information. I'm like, this is bothering me. So I had to go back in and at least say I'm a woman. So stop sending me pictures of booby women. You know, this is really taking me off.
I know, yeah, that's what I hated that too. It would be, you know, all sorts of stuff that had to do with getting older, like, you know, hair loss or just stuff like that, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, they know too much about me. I can tell, because it would be like stuff about retirement and like, are you planning for your retirement and things like. I'm like, I'm not that old, you know. I know you're not supposed to.
I get like cremation stuff in the mail. I'm like, F off! Do not send me a letter to plan my cremation, you jerks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, wills and stuff like that. It's like,
I don't mind wills.
That's dripping, you know. Constant fear stuff, keeping it right in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, and I get wrinkle stuff, you know, and wrinkles around the mouth, and I'll be watching YouTube, and all this wrinkle stuff will come up, you know, and I'm like, God.
Yeah, arthritis and overweight and all sorts of stuff that they know that most people in their 40s and 50s are dealing with, you know.
It's so negative. Yeah. Let's feed people positivity, you know.
Yeah,
God, if we owned YouTube, it would be so different, wouldn't it? It'd be all love and light. If our community, our little family here was running YouTube, it would all be, you know, virtual hugs and love and light and, you know, nice stuff.
And there's been a few times where, you know, you get on Facebook and you see an ad about something you were just talking about. So it's clear that they're listening all the time. Like, your phone is
Remember,
listening.
I told you about like saying something in my car and Maps responding to me about what I just said. I'm like, you're supposed to give directions. You're not supposed to be listening in on the conversation. That's AI. That is AI, you know, at work.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well,
love
if you say,
you know,
Google, it pops up the thing, so you know it's always waiting for you to say that. So it's documenting. If you're talking about like furniture or something, you're going to get a furniture ad on Facebook. That's why I prefer to use MeWe, because it seems so much less invasive. You know, it's like
I hardly do Facebook at all.
Yeah,
go on like once or twice a month and just kind of look at what people are posting, and I'm not comfortable on Facebook. So I haven't deleted it yet, because there's like family and friends that I only have a connection with them through Facebook because they're not wacky enough to join this community. You know, this is the extreme, happy, spiritual, ascending group, you know, and they're just not ready for this. No way.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I created a completely different account on Facebook for this family because I knew you know, my regular family just, they don't get it, you know, with a lot of stuff, like my distant family, all my Facebook friends and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
I call
and, you know, they know I'm
life.
wacky, but they don't know how wacky, you know. Right. If they were, although I've been uploading some of my videos, my wacky videos to my Facebook, I'm like, screw it. They might as well know, you know.
Yeah, I put a few things on there and I don't think anybody ever clicks it, so.
No, I get no views and no smiley faces.
no shares.
Like, why am I putting it up there? Why am I sharing my deepest, most spiritual side of myself with my real family when it really needs to be here with my cyber family, with my YouTube family, or unbiased on the fence family?
Awake family, really.
Yeah, my awake family. Yeah, definitely. Well, we were thinking tonight, like once a month, because we do get requests and we can't do, like, you know, for obvious reasons, just an entire group meditation on just one person in the community, because what about the other 100? We wouldn't have enough weeks to do everybody. So like once a month, this will be one of them. We're going to just do a general meditation for us, for our community, for everybody doing it tonight, and everybody who listens to this and does it in the future, you're included. We're just going to kind of send that healing, loving energy to ourselves, and it'll be amplified incredibly because of the numbers doing it, and also because of the electromagnetic activity going on. And then while we're doing it, if you like, you can send it out from your heart when you've had enough to your loved ones. be they family or friends or neighbors, send it to them, because we all know somebody who could sure use more than a pat on the back, you know, for whatever struggle they're having. And this meditation will be for physical healing, spiritual, emotional, mental healing, relationship healing, and situational, you know, which could be finances or job or a home or, you know, whatever. So it's really...
I really recommend that you don't send it to yourself, you send it to everyone else, and then you'll have everyone else in the group sending it to you. That way it's sort of a service to others mentality. Like Tom Campbell talks about. He talks about if everybody in the world was looking out for everybody else and nobody had to look out for themselves, then you would have literally every single person on the planet looking out for you, and you really wouldn't need to look out for yourself because nobody would steal from you, and you know.
Yeah, that follows The Power of Eight by Lynne McTaggart to the letter. Because remember, we haven't talked about this for, you know, probably a good month now or maybe longer, that what she found was that while others are doing their intentions or their prayers for others, they receive a healing.
Like Jenny,
more than if they're just focusing that energy in on themselves, like a Taurus, you know, the energy is coming out of your heart, but you're sending it right back at yourself. So how powerful is it getting? But as soon as you send that energy out to somebody, you get healed in the process.
Yeah, so, you reap the benefits of being the conduit for the energy to flow through, even though it's flowing through you to someone else. You get the leaky bucket, I think she called it in the book, didn't you say?
Yeah, she called it the leaky bucket. And I think of it more like a flashlight. Like if your heart's a flashlight and you turn it inwards, how light is that shine going to be? Right. Not terribly light. But if you turn it outwards and you give it to somebody else, your energy is just magnified a thousandfold, a millionfold. And of course that energy is going to heal you, you know, because it's so much bigger than it would have been if you only focused your energy on little old you, you know, just inward.
Totally agree.
I think that's a great idea. So we're sending all of this love and healing energy for whatever the needs are for everyone in our community, whether they're listening tonight or at any point in the future. So and we're focusing on others. We're focusing on everybody in our community as opposed to just focusing on our own needs. And then at that point, if you want to send that love and that light to friends and family, they're in our community too, because they're related to you. By extension of you, they're in the community. So you're more than welcome to imagine a friend or family member who needs a little extra healing, a little extra love, a little extra light. So I did think of two people in our community that have had a rough week. And this is what kind of made me think maybe we could do this like once a month, you know, really kind of heal ourselves.
Yeah, because everybody needs physical or emotional or some type of healing, spiritual or whatever it is, or someone in your family that you can sort of stand in the gap. I think we used to say as Christians to stand in the gap for someone, sort of like you.
That's theta healing. Yeah. You stand with the person and then you step aside and you ask and you see the healing, but you don't actually interfere with it.
Right.
You kind of witness it. You witness the healing.
Like a surrogate type of something.
Yeah. Okay, so this is all for us guys and for everybody else in our group here and loved ones. So I will just click off. We're good on time. It's 9 o'clock. Wrong button. Okay, so just get comfortable. So move, if you're going to move around, do it now. Kind of situate yourself and kind of sink into your seat if you're sitting or laying down. Probably don't want to be standing. And get comfortable and take a nice deep breath. And as you inhale that breath, let it circulate throughout your entire body. And as you exhale it, exhale any stress or concerns or negativity. And then take another nice deep cleansing breath in Very relaxing. Hold it. And let it clear your space. So as you exhale, you're clearing any negative energy around you. And we're going to take one more cleansing breath in, and we're going to have our tummies extend as we really fill up our lungs, right to the bottom of our lungs. Hold it. And exhale any stress. And now we're going to send a grounding cord from our root chakra at the base of our spine all the way down, 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 down into the very depth, the center of Earth. And when it reaches the Earth, let that grounding cord of light, usually silver or gold, spread out in all directions like the roots of a tree. And now as we begin to breathe in through our heart chakra and exhale gently out of our heart chakra, we're going to imagine a beautiful healing light coming with that breath, breathing that beautiful light in through our heart chakra and breathing that light out of our heart chakra. Letting that light come in from God or Source and exhaling it out of your heart chakra. Letting it come in from the creative, energetic universe around you and exhaling it through your heart chakra. Also letting that light come in from your higher self, your highest self, into your heart chakra and exhale it. And now as you continue breathing, love into your heart and love out of your heart. We're going to let that light fill a bubble of space around us. It's kind of an egg or a cocoon of light that's going to protect you and hold you comfortably throughout this entire meditation. So breathe that light of love in through your heart chakra. And now as you exhale it, let it fill a bubble of light around you, above you, and below you. Fill in the space behind you and in front of you. And now that you're grounded to the center of the earth and you're in a comfortable light bubble, we're going to start amplifying that energy that we're breathing into our heart chakras. It's love. We're going to send it out to everybody in our community. We're going to see that light spread and grow so quickly that we know it instantly covers the entire earth. Breathing that love light in through your heart chakra, energizing it with your own love, and sending it back out into our beautiful, loving, creative community of light workers and star seeds and gentle human beings who came here really with a mission to love and to spread that love through their lives. Breathing that love light in and sending it back out. And we're going to change the colors a little bit. We're going to start to breathe in the green, healing emerald colors. It's the color of growth, of grass, of the plants, of Archangel Raphael, the healing angel, always uses the color green. We're going to breathe that healing energy into our hearts, fully absorbing it ourselves, mixing it with our own love, and sending it back out to our community members who may really, really need it right now. They might need it more than you. They might have a challenge with their body. They might need a physical healing. Perhaps they need an emotional or a mental healing. They might need a healing within their relationship or relationships. They might need a financial healing. They might need a situational healing involving where they live or where they work. We're going to let everybody in the community who receives this beautiful green love light decide themselves how best to use that energy. So we're sending it out freely with love, and we're allowing others to decide how to use it for their highest good. And now we're just going to change the color of that love light. We're going to breathe in yellow. We're going to breathe yellow forgiveness in through our hearts. And we're going to let it completely clear us. And we're going to mix it with our own forgiveness. And we're going to send it back out through our hearts, this yellow ray of forgiveness. And as we breathe this yellow, bright color of the sun, which also is associated with the solar plexus chakra, with life itself, we're going to mix in forgiveness with that color. And as we send it out to our community, we're going to let people who hear this meditation use it for their own highest good. Whatever they need to forgive, whatever they want to forgive, this energy will just help them, give them that extra comfort that they need while they're forgiving. And now we're going to change that color. And we're going to breathe in through our heart chakras the beautiful, cool blue ray of communication, of cooperation. And we're going to let it completely fill our bodies and our bubble of light around us. And we're going to mix in our own blue ray of love through communication, through our thoughts and our spoken words and our writings, and send it back out through our heart chakra. We're going to continue to breathe in the blue ray. And as we send it out, we're going to let that cover the entire world, because our community is spread out all over this very, very tiny planet. Whether you see it as a round planet or a flat planet, it doesn't matter. We're spread out all over. And this blue ray that we're sharing is going to allow us to communicate better with our loved ones, with our neighbors, with each other, with our employers, with our coworkers, with people we don't know. When we talk to them on the phone and we bump into them and something doesn't quite go right, it's going to help us to keep our cool. We've got that cool blue color of clean, clear communication now that we're giving to each other through our heart centers. And finally, the last color for tonight, we're going to breathe in through our heart chakras the pure purple ray. Often this is associated between the third eye and the 8th chakra, right above your head, which goes from indigo blue to purple to white. So it kind of covers a great deal of our thinking processes and our intuition and our holy sense of self within ourselves that we actually know, because we do meditate and pray and think about who we are and why we came here. And we're going to just share that blessing through the purple ray and breathe it out to the entire world and to our community. And anybody who hears this meditation is welcome to use that increased, energetic, powerful purple ray to help them to have more insight in how they can solve their problems, how they can heal, how they can improve their relationships or improve their work situations. So we've covered a lot of ground, and we're not telling people what they should do with this love or what they should do with this increased energy. We're allowing them to use it, if they so wish, to their highest good. And now, for just a few moments in silence, send the green ray, the yellow ray, the blue ray, and the purple ray to your specific loved one, whether it's a family member or a friend or a colleague or a neighbor who you think could really use this extra powerful, loving energy to use the way they choose to their highest good. And when you're ready, just start to breathe comfortably in and out of your nose. And let that bubble of light just fill your home environment as it disperses. That's been surrounding you and protecting you through this intensified prayer, meditation, intention process. And when you're ready, just let your grounding cord release from your root chakra all the way back down into the center of the earth where it disappears, it vanishes. And you can start to just move around a little bit, especially your legs and your feet, maybe your neck. Move your shoulders and just come back and feel really grounded and really comfortable. I always get a stiff neck doing it. I don't know how I'm sitting over the computer, but I'm like, oh, I need to move my neck.
Yeah, I had a couple of shows where I had horrible like tension in my neck, and I just, where it feels like it won't relax. I remember
Yes.
I was trying to straighten up and sit straight. And
yep. It's like we rarely move our heads, just when we're driving, right? And looking at those blind spots. So it feels really good to just kind of stretch your neck out occasionally. Yeah, I think we should do this like once a month. We should really kind of feed our community.
I enjoyed that. I felt the waves, and it was so funny as you were saying the colors. I was seeing the colors in my spectrum with my eyes closed, because I typically get the violet, what I call the violet flame. It's sort of like this violet color that's in the darkness, blue and purple. My eyes being closed, I'll see it sort of like waving across there. But the moment he said green, it turned green. I'm like, no way! How did they do that, dude? It was cool. It was cool.
You'd be a good hypnosis subject too, if you can see them that instantly,
Yeah, that's why I totally got to do it in person when I finally do my QHHT. I've had people offer that online. I'm like, I wanted the first one to be in person. For sure.
I don't blame you. Yeah. The next time we'll do orange and red. I'll get orange and red in there, but this time I just felt like doing solar plexus, heart, throat chakra, and then the purple ray is between the blue indigo, the purple, and the white. So you get all three of these. But we definitely have to do the red, and we have to do the orange next time.
Yeah, you can see on my logo, I started at the green and worked up. I totally left at the bottom three. I'm like, they get enough attention.
Our community is so heart-centered. We tend to live from the heart up. And sometimes we really, really need that red and that orange and that brown and that gray, even the blacks and stuff. We need that color and that energy to get us rooted and grounded, because we're so up here. We're up here all the time.
And being balanced is really important. Remember the law of one was actually saying it's better to have all of your chakras like open and not be as bright than it is to have like a couple of your higher ones just super open and super bright, but all of your other ones, it was all about, because we get pure white light in and you want to put pure white light out, and you can't really do that if you've got, if the upper ones are super open.
A blockage.
So it all comes down.
Well, maybe next week then I'll do the lower chakras, because that was long enough. That felt like a 15-minute one. They're usually between 10 and 14 minutes, I've noticed. So I think if you guys don't mind, we'll do the lower chakras next week for our whole community. So we'll be sending that love energy out to others in our community, because that makes it more powerful than making it go back into yourself. And then we'll just and grounding, and then we'll hit our loved ones, the ones that we know are suffering with something, and we can send them that community energy.
Totally. I dig it.
Cool. Awesome. Oh, that was great, guys.
Yeah, that was awesome. So
thank you.
So yeah, that's a great idea for next week, and I can't really wait. So,
and you guys are really protected. You've got your grounding cord in, you've got your bubble of protective light around you. So no matter what's going on in the group, you're actually protected in your own environment, sending your love out. So it's a very, I think most people feel pretty grounded. I think, sometimes we come back a little lightheaded when we do the really like emotional deep ones, like for children and the veterans and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually got the waves got pretty heavy there, and I was like, oh, I need to pull myself out. I don't want to,
we could be in a solar portal right now that we don't even know of, some of us, right? And we could be in an electromagnetic storm that we can't see. There's so many things going on while we're doing this group meditation that it's just very powerful. It's just really effective.
That's so funny. My daughter, I got to tell this quick story before we go. My daughter was having, her laptop wasn't working, and it had the words at the bottom. It was starting up or whatever. And she said, did that just move, or was that me? And I'm like, what do you mean? The bar was going up. She goes, no, did the whole thing kind of like move a little bit, jump? And I was like, no, that was your eyes. And then I said, well, wait a minute, what time is it? And then she looks, she goes, oh, what? And I'm like, what time is it? She's like, 4:44. I'm like, maybe it was some type of thing that you noticed and I didn't notice. So it made me wonder. I'm like, because the way she explained it was like in movies when like something changes and there's like a little shimmy,
Yeah, it's like an editing when something's been edited, right?
Exactly.
You get that little.
And she thought I saw the clock. I'm like, my eyes can't see the time on your phone.
Oh, that is so
bad like that. So
cute.
It was funny.
I get the more heart energy work you do. Cynthia Sue Larson did a video on that. The more electronics kind of malfunction around you. So you literally lay your hands above your computer and you just tell it to behave. You're like, okay, clear and clean, clear and clean. I need you to work right now. Clear and clean. Some people call in the energies of Archangel Michael. I don't know why, but he's supposedly, his energy is really good with electronics.
He's like angelic tech support.
Angelic tech support. It's true. I was meditating in England, quick story, 2 or 3 hours a day. I was like, I'm really getting into meditation now. And my house that I owned, apparently they'd laid the wires in the village of 1,000 people after World War II. So the electric company, I had the house for like 10 years, but I was only meditating like for the last 2 or 3 in them. And the electric company were contacting me going, why is it your house is constantly going off the grid? I would blow the spark plug in the transformer. Apparently the village has a transformer, a big like hut full of, each house is on its own little spark plug thing. So I blow my transformer. And then they kept coming out to fix it. I started blowing them every other house. So the houses would go off for an hour or two until they could drive out and remove, put in new transformers. Is that what they are, or spark plugs?
Fuses or breakers?
Fuses. Yeah, fuses. I just blow the fuses. So finally, I didn't ask them to. They came out and they dug a hole from my house to the transformer in the middle of the village, and they rewired my house. And as soon as they rewired my house, I did not blow anything. It's just that those wires were so wonky and corroded, and they were, the casings were breaking down and water was getting in, that kind of energy work of meditating 2 or 3 hours a day would just knock them out, literally.
That's strange to imagine shielding on the wire being effective against that type of energy, because you typically think of it the other way around. It's to protect.
Yeah, so it's I think it was magnetic. I think it was coming from my heart more than electrical. Mm-hmm. And that came into my house, that bad wiring from the 1940s, right, and 50s, and it was just going straight to the fuse box and blowing the fuse. So I was the only house in my village that got completely new wiring.
Well, you know what's weird is you remember when we had the old television sets with the antenna on the top, and sometimes somebody would walk and you could see them walking across the screen like the interference.
Yes, you'd be like, you're in the TV.
Right.
It's just an image of them would walk by in the TV.
Right. Yeah, and we, you know, I don't know why that seems strange now when I think back. I'm like, why did we?
Yeah, that was very weird. And my dad would always go, Eileen, hold the antenna, and I'd walk over and hold it. He'd go, okay, just stay there for the game, for the football game. I'm like, what?
Totally, yeah. We grew up for the younger crowd. We grew up when we were growing up. We were the remote controls.
We were, yeah, and it was rabbit ears. Remember the rabbit ears, and you'd hold one and you get it a better circuit, and then your dad would go, "Oh, go put." There were 4 channels, maybe 3, and then the 4th one was Fox. It was like, Eileen, go put on channel 2, and you'd get up and change the channel for your parents, right?
Oh, totally, yeah. Or readjust the foil on the rabbit ears, or put a
the
foil on it.
So I noticed that as I meditated more, you know those like really horrible lights that are full of gas. What are they? And they're
fluorescent or halogen.
Yeah, they put them on street lights, right?
Yeah,
they're not like the old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed the more I meditate, the more they would flicker above me as I walk at night. So they don't have a really good signal either, and our electromagnetism can definitely interfere with those cheaper, they're not cheaper at all, are they? They're the long,
the newest ones are the LED ones, but you're talking about they're like gas, so they're like halogen.
Yeah, they're gas.
Or something like that. Yeah, because when they first turn on, you could see the gas. You could see the gas moving around in them as it's heating it up.
And getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Yeah, so those, as you're walking, if you do a lot of meditating, your electromagnetic energy is going to interfere with those for sure. And sometimes your cell phone, you might not get a good signal, Yeah. You'll be talking to somebody like this, and they'll be going, you're cutting out, and then if you move your hand like 2 feet away from you, they'll get the signal. You won't cut out anymore. The closer you hold it to your heart, the more interference they get talking to you on your cell phone.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know what? They've got people that will hold those fluorescent tubes. They're not plugged into anything, but they'll have one of those Tesla coils that they've created in their house or whatever, and they can move it close to it, and it will start to light it up.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's so much we don't understand, but
all this power is going to be here. It's all coming. It's coming with probably us. We're the start of it. We're going to bring out the free energy. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited.
Cool. Well, we had a long show tonight. It wasn't intended to be long, but sorry I lost your comments, but I just started to freeze up when I had the show on my phone as well as on my computer. It's too much of a drain on the Wi-Fi out here because we have spotty Wi-Fi.
That just goes to show, the foil on the antennas. I was saying he was laughing about the foil on the antenna, but that just goes to show maybe it does help to have a tinfoil hat on, right?
Hey, I'm not surprised by that because smart meters, guess how they block smart meters? They say, get tinfoil and just tinfoil your whole wall, the wall that faces the smart meters. I mean, come on, if that doesn't prove a tinfoil hat works, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I need to line my wall behind me because it's just behind the screen.
Yeah, that's where you want to do it. You just want to foil the whole wall. Yeah, I mean, nanu, I imagine picking up other signals, Shane, while you meditate. Holy moly.
Yeah, you like foil the meter and you foil their plans to, take over.
You foil their plans and you foil the meter and then you start picking up, Arcturians.
Right.
Nanu.
That would be cool. Man, all this time, what if that's what's blocking out the signal? We'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting such a clear signal now.
We got a clear signal to Shane, but only to Shane because he foiled his broom.
Right. Or make like a dunce hat with a point on it, of foil. Really pick up some signals. So.
Oh my God. Well, hey, when 5G is out, I think we should just foil our bodies. Little air holes, little straws up our noses.
Foil straws. Yeah, we'll go all out with it.
Oh my God.
Well, lots of love and light to everybody in the chat, and make sure you join us again next week. And if you're not subscribed already to Eileen, her links are in the description box below.
Thank you. I love you guys. I'll go look at the chat soon as I can pull it up.
Yeah, it takes a while for it to process.
It does, but that's okay. I can wait.
Is it the same amount of time as it takes to be able to download it? Is that all the same processing time?
I think so.
So once the chat shows up, you can download it at that point because it's done doing whatever it's doing?
Oh, I've never tried that. Now I know. Now I'll try that.
Because sometimes I'll get on there and it'll just have my comments, and I'm like, I know what my comments were. I want to see what everyone else's comments.
You want to see what everybody else was saying while you were running the show?
Totally.
I don't know. If I figure that out, I'll let you know.
Okay, awesome. Well, lots of love to everybody in the chat. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks again, Eileen.
Thank you. Love you, Shane. Bye.
Love you.
Peace.
Bye-bye. Peace. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.